Hello there, Wen. Okay, so let's go. Nowadays, most green energy is becoming ever more prevalent in both developed and developing countries. Some argue they greatly reduce costs and are far better for the environment. Others believe they are a serious threat to energy security. Okay, so as we've been doing, that's going to be body paragraph 1. That's going to be body paragraph 2. The issue of applying renewable energies has been a sensitive topic for decades throughout the world. Beautiful. Though using them may have several benefits to the environment, I'd go for 4. It's an economical price. Some people are concerned about whether it will lead to some unpredictable consequences. Beautiful. This essay will analyze both sides using examples from certain countries to demonstrate my opinion. Okay, be careful. Okay, that's almost an empty sentence. Okay, let's just make the sentence 100% relevant to this topic. Okay, use examples from, let's see, from the energy industry, I'm guessing, or from the energy industry in Scotland, and let's see, and technology in Australia, to demonstrate points and prove arguments, or to demonstrate my opinion. Okay, but it's a good opportunity here. It's an easy sentence to master, and we just make it relevant to this topic. Okay, so we're going to mention something briefly about what we write about in body paragraph 1, and also something very briefly about what we're going to write in body paragraph 2. Since the advent of eco-friendly technologies, the cost of generating renewable power has been greatly reduced. Good. This is because they are originated primarily from natural processes. Okay, this is because they originate. Use the verb instead of the noun, and it reads better. It's and you're not going to make mistakes. You're less likely to make mistakes. This is because they originate primarily from natural processes, which can be replenished, beautiful language here, repeatedly without being without being depleted. Again, if we use the verb instead of the noun, or without a concern for depletion. But I think without being depleted is better. Okay, again, using the verb instead of the noun. In contrast, a massive investments in fundamental infrastructure, infrastructures is required. Okay, both are alright there. Required to facilitate the supply of traditional fuels, such as oil, gas and charcoal. Okay, this sounds like we're going a bit different direction now. In contrast. Oh, okay, sorry, in contrast, right. Massive investments in fundamental infrastructure is required to facilitate the supply of traditional fuels, such as oil, gas and charcoal. Most importantly, we usually say coal instead of charcoal. Charcoal is a type of coal, I think. Most importantly, the increasing widespread use of alternative energies could ultimately reduce reliance on fossil fuels, which are devastating the environment. Okay. For example, according to the Scottish Government statement last year, around 58.2% of the electricity was generated by on and offshore wind, contributing to the decline of carbon dioxide emission rates. Good. Therefore, there are some beneficial effects on the sustainable development of countries. Beautiful. Okay, let's just go back to the question and check. Okay, so we did talk about the environment. We didn't really develop the argument of fossil fuels, okay, which is a shame, because I think here we had the ultimate argument, okay, and I think the problem is basically this sentence, because one, it was a little bit unclear what we're saying. We're talking about infrastructure, but I think the logical argument would be, in contrast, every year, numerous tons of fossil fuels are used up and have to be extracted again from the Earth, which is costly. Which is costly, especially compared to renewable energy. Okay. So, great paragraph there. Just this sentence I'm not so keen on. Meanwhile, due to nuclear leaks caused by certain accidents, some skeptics are anxious about the safety of nuclear power, or the safety. But here we're going a little bit too direct. Okay, so here we started off perfectly, and then we developed it a little bit more. So we should do the same in body paragraph 2. So something like, let's see. Others believe they are a serious threat to energy security. Okay. Meanwhile, regarding energy security, nuclear power is often touted, is often said to be among the most stable. However, leaks caused by certain accidents can happen. Okay, and then we can transition. But remember, when we start off general, ideally we start off general and then we go down to specific with something like an example. Okay, so the 2011 Japanese tsunami is a good example because an unexpected cataclysm, beautiful, at a nuclear plant leading to radioactive toxic substances being leaked into the Pacific Ocean. Furthermore, the renewable energy resources are not as sustainable as fossil fuels due to the distribution of climate, landscapes and natural resources. They are not sufficient in certain conditions. Okay, good. For instance, even though after widespread installation of solar panels on residential roofs in Australia, reliance on traditional resources remains, especially when it rains continually during humid seasons. Beautiful. Thus, government should ensure the security and stability of its use. What does it mean here? Okay, so that's a bit unclear. Yeah, I'm not that keen on this body paragraph, in all honesty. I don't think we've followed the structure in the online course as closely as we could have done. And also, I wouldn't have talked about nuclear, because some people talk about it as renewable. Some people consider it green. It's not a fossil fuel. It's kind of like in between. And because it's in between, I think it makes your argument harder to follow, to understand, I know we're talking about the dangers here, but it wasn't sort of like so explicit. If we would have talked about, this one is perfect, the Australia argument, humid system, the lack of guaranteed energy, that's perfect. So this one is super. Here, you could have talked about nuclear, but you'd have to sort of like clarify that you are considering it a green energy and it is unstable if a natural event happens, such as a tsunami, for example, in 2011. Okay? And then what I just did in my explanation there was I started general. Nuclear is green energy. It is better than fossil fuels, but it has dangers. If there's a natural event, this happened in Japan in 2011, okay? And then describe the event. Okay, the advantages of using environmentally friendly resources are undeniable as they provide sustainability for human development. Beautiful. Nevertheless, this should be adopted under government control. In the future, it is predicted that it will increasingly grow in importance. Good. Okay, but be careful. We want to make it relevant. So it here has to be something like that green energy and solar, especially solar, will increasingly grow in importance. Something like that. Okay? So great work there, Wen. Just remember to follow the guide, the structure a little bit more closely in order to get your coherent paragraphs in. Okay? Two maps compare. The two maps compare the layout of an island before and after multiple facilities were renovated. Were they renovated or were they built? Okay, renovated is when we make an old thing into a new thing. Okay, like buy an old house, renovate it. It all has new facilities and everything's fixed, and then you sell it for the price of a new one or more. Okay, so that's a renovation, where constructed is the right verb. As it can be seen clearly, okay, 3 high-rise modern hotels were constructed in the heart of the island. Beautiful, where there used to be a rural field. Beautiful. On either side of this group of buildings, beautiful, new cottages were constructed as new accommodation areas, which once were woodlands. Excellent. On the left, the accommodation blocks were connected to the central building by a footpath, while on the right, cottages were linked to each other by a circular vehicle track. Super. Leading directly from the centre of the island, because we've already used heart, to the southern sea, new entertainment facilities were put into use, including a pier with a vehicle track heading to the central group of buildings, and 2, let's just write the word 2, okay, because we don't have any other numbers here, okay, and 2 boats facilitating fishing. There's a man-made lake at the eastern end of the island, beautiful, where once was wild land, not a wild land. In the north, the bush forest remained untouched even after the construction work. Okay, why bush forest? We just say the forest. Okay. Overall, the new infrastructure has been built to cater to the growing needs of tourists after undergoing several constructions. No. After undergoing, I think you were fine. Let's go there. That's it. Okay, job done. Excellent work there. Excellent vocabulary and great use of all the positional prepositions and the positional language. You mastered this one. Just 1 or 2 mistakes with there, but that and the end sentence. But overall, that was a fantastic task 1. Well done.